Evening, everybody. It's 6:11 on February the 1st, this Thursday evening, and this is your closing comment. And there will be no daily note tonight. It is my birthday, and I'm going out to dinner with my grandchildren, so I hope you'll cut me some slack. Okay, today was the rest of the big magnificent 6 or 7, depending upon whether or not you've tossed away uh, Tesla, and the market was strong right from the get go this morning. Biggest gainer today was again the Russell, up 2708 or 1.39. That was followed by the NASDAQ up 197.63 or 1.3. And that you can assume will be sharply higher again when the futures reopen. And we'll get to those earnings in a minute. After that was the S&P up 60.54 or 1.25%. The Dow was up 369 or 0.97, and lagging behind but still up, the transports up 130 or 0.83. Advanced declines were pretty solid, 7-2 on the NYSE, 2-1 on the NASDAQ. 23 of the 30 Dow stocks were up on the day. So let's hit those earnings. They were all beats or seemingly beats, with the exception of Skechers. So we'll save that for last. Meta had a huge beat. The stock had closed 394.78, up 465, and not a misprint. The high since then is 455.87, with a last of 450.38, up 60.15, up 15.4%. And, I hope a lot of you own it. And if you own any mutual funds or stuff, you do own it. But the problem here is that the market is supposed to give you realistic price discovery. And when you got a 15% move on a $3 trillion company or a $2 trillion company, that's a little on the excessive side versus, if the earnings would have come in at a loss, it might have been down 15%. So that's what I mean by price discovery. They also started a dividend, 50 cents a quarter, which is the first time. They're following in Apple's footsteps, and another accelerated buyback. Amazon was a beat. It had closed 159.67, up 447. It traded up $15 to 174.5. The last on it is 170. That's up 1480 or 9.3%. Apple was clearly the most erratic. They printed the beat on earnings and revenues, which is a nice change. This is a first not down revenue number, but there were problems. In the meantime, the stock had closed 186.86, up 246, got up to 191.81, so up about another 5, so up about 7.5. But then when the conference call started and we started getting a breakout of the numbers, like the year over year decline in Chinese sales of 13% and iPads coming in under expectations, it turned tail and went down to 179.21. So it gave back 7 of those dollars. The last on it is 181.55. That's only down 285 or 1.48%. But it's also $10 off the high, which is somewhat disturbing. Deckers, maker of Uggs, another big beat. It closed 772.85, up 19 and change. This one moved up $78 to $850 on the high. The last is $815, up 61.27 or 8.1%. And Clorox recovered smartly from the problems that they had with their security breach that had shut things down pretty much. It had closed 148.04, and that is up 278. With their beat, the stock immediately traded up to 159 and a half. The last is 158.40. That's up $13.10 or 8.8%. And the loser, Skechers, with a miss top and bottom line. It made a new high, I think a new all-time high in the last couple of days. The stock had closed 63.60, up $1.16, traded all the way down to 52.44, so almost over $11 to the downside. Has come back a bit. 58.05. It's only down $4.39 or 7%. Okay, the chart on the screen is the oil. And if you recall, we bought the XLE down here. We closed out the first half up here. We closed out half of that again. And then yesterday we closed out the balance. That was versus about $77 in the oil. And it closed down on the low last night, and then it was trying to make it back up, but they announced the possibility of a ceasefire in Gaza, and it just collapsed. I mean, it went from a high of the day of almost 77, 76.95, to a low of 73.70 with a last at 74. Oh, well, this is already reopened. It closed 73.82, and that was down 203. It's getting a little bit of that back this evening. Nat gas was down a nickel. Gold, which you would have thought might have come down a little with that ceasefire news, actually has been much more influenced by interest rates of late. And the 10-year has gone from, it was down in the 390, 394, got all the way up to 418, has come all the way back down. Today at the low, I believe it was 384, closed around 387, 386 and change. The gold, which was as high today as 2083, it did give back a bunch on the news, but it was still an outside day, lower low, higher high, and closing near the top, and it is up about $1.30 tonight. I really think that this is going to make another new all-time high. The high here is 2153, I believe, 2152.30. And I think that I would be playing this with miners, because the miners outperform gold when it's actually trending. The silver was up 7 cents. Bitcoin, after being down around 42,000, closed 43,275, up 460. The dollar was down 22 cents, and the bonds, which were up over 2.25 during the day, actually closed up about 1 5/8, 1 11/16 actually, on the day. So it had a very strong performance. Tomorrow morning, we get the January payrolls, non-farm payrolls. So that will definitely be market moving. Let me see if there's anything else of consequence that we'll see in the morning. Non-farm payrolls, our average hourly earnings, the unemployment rate, average work week. Then at 10 o'clock, we get December factory orders, January University of Michigan consumer sentiment. That's looking to be unchanged at 78.8. So hope everyone had a really good day today, and I'll be back in the morning.